Good afternoon, Zimbabwe. Welcome to the Lunchtime Bulletin on Kiona TV. I am Rashid Mhlanga, and these are the stories making headlines. President Mnangagwa presents a review of performance-based contracts. Local authorities snag Vision 2030. And a classroom collapsed in Kwekwe due to illegal mining. And in business, a Zimbabwe Stock Exchange confident of new listings. And in regional news, Sudan's political impasse continues. And in sports, Highlanders announce a squad. Now let's take a look at these and more stories in greater detail. President Emmerson Mnangagwa presented a 2022 performance evaluation results and signing of performance contracts for senior public officials for fiscal year 2023, analyzing how cabinet ministers, permanent secretaries, and other government and parastatal departmental heads performed over the course of the past year. More details from Londiwe Dube.
The review of performance contracts for cabinet ministers, permanent secretaries, chief executive officers for parastatals and local authorities, vice chancellors of state universities, among other senior civil servants, was introduced as a way of ascertaining good governance. Performance-based contracts were introduced by President Mnangagwa in 2021 to ensure maximum productivity within the government. Mishek Sibanda, the chief secretary to the president and cabinet, announced that 19 out of 21 cabinet ministers were evaluated. Of those, 2 ministers excelled beyond expectation. 15 met their targets, while 2 others performed below the target. Dr. Anxious Masuka, the Minister of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement, was named the overall best performer. Masuka is said to have performed above set targets. Record wheat harvest is among his best performances. Frederick Shava, the Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Trade, was named as the runner-up. John Pasera, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Lands, Agriculture, Water and Rural Resettlement, was named the best performing Permanent Secretary. Professor Quinten Kanukamwe, Vice Chancellor of the Harare Institute of Technology, was named the best performing head of a government institution. Runner-up engineer Sebastian Marume, the Chief Executive Officer of the Zimbabwe Manpower Development Fund, the ZIMDEF. Meanwhile, the Office of the President and Cabinet also announced 2 ministers who performed below target since last year, and they were signed performance contracts.
President Emmerson Mnangagwa yesterday condemned the performance of local authorities in 2022 as none exceeded set target and allowable variance in their performance-based contracts. Hence, no awards for local authorities was rewarded during yesterday's announcement of the 2022 performance evaluation results and signing of performance contracts for senior public officials for fiscal year 2023. Let's get a detailed report from Londiwe Dube.
Speaking during the ceremony, President Mnangagwa said that the performance of local authorities as outlined in the assessment report remains worrisome and a huge drawback in our march towards Vision 2030. While devolution funds have gone a long way in accelerating infrastructure development, neglect and failure by majority of local authorities to focus on their core mandate of service delivery is unacceptable. In its 4th post-cabinet briefing of the year, the Ministry of Local Government and Public Works also noted with concern that performance of local authorities in service delivery has been limited by a number of factors, some of which the central government is in the process of addressing. According to the ministry, the 2022 local authority budget review process reflected non-alignment to the national vision, non-disclosure of all revenue streams, and non-adherence to the statutes when budgeting, adding that lack of evaluation roles, absence of bylaws, and audits were lagging behind. The ministry added that local authorities' operations are encumbered by pending labor cases which have seriously affected governance in local authorities, culminating in poor service delivery, unwillingness by ratepayers to pay taxes, with the local authorities owed in excess of 162 billion Zimbabwean dollars, and non-compliance with the central government policies and legislation.
Moving on to Kwekwe, a classroom block at Globe and Phoenix Primary School collapsed on Thursday morning, injuring 14 grade 5 children. The floor collapsed as a result of the illegal gold mining activities happening underneath the school. The injured learners were rushed to Kwekwe General Hospital, where they have been since attended to. Only one of the learners sustained serious injuries. Psychosocial support is being provided by the Ministry of Health and Childcare as well as the Ministry of Primary and Secondary Education. Kwekwe has over the years witnessed the mushrooming of illegal ground mining, with experts warning that Kwekwe City is at risk and urgent action is needed to avert disaster. In addition to illegal mining activities, reports indicate that tunnels that run underneath the city that were left by the Globe and Phoenix Mining Company and increased rains, the ground under the city is softening and some buildings could be at risk of collapsing into tunnels. There has also been calls by stakeholders who note that Kwekwe has rich gold deposits and that it is economically viable to relocate some parts of the city and compensate the affected people and allow either government or an investor to engage in full-scale gold production. In a bid to promote the sustainable harvesting of mopane worms, the Mangwe Rural District Council has come up with bylaws which give locals the first priority in harvesting and processing the nutritious natural delicacy. These bylaws may be cited as the Mangwe Rural District Council Mopane Worm Mahonja Amacimbi Harvesting, Processing and Management Bylaws. They shall apply to all the areas under the jurisdiction of Mangwe Rural District Council. The harvesting, degutting, cooking, salting and packaging of amacimbi shall only be a benefit for the locals. There shall be a trading center for mopane worms when the resource has been fully processed for the buyers to bid. Amacimbi harvesters or buyers shall obtain permits from the council. The validity of the permit shall be monitored by traditional leaders being supported by environmental subcommittees at a village level. The bylaws also specified that it shall be an offense for any locals to accommodate or allow non-permit holders to harvest the mopane worms. The bylaws further read that there shall be an offense for any local to accommodate an amacimbi non-permit holder from outside the district, and all mopane worms harvested or purchased shall be forfeited to the council. And now to business. Zimbabwe Stock Exchange Chief Executive Justice Boni said he is confident that the bourse will see new listings this year despite a number of companies jumping ship to the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. The companies that have so far migrated from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange to the Forex-dominated Victoria Falls Stock Exchange include Padenga Holdings Limited, Simbisa Brands Limited, Seedco, Caledonia Mining Corporation, Bindura Nickel Corporation Limited, Insco, and National Foods. African Sun and Getbacks also got the nod from their shareholders to delist from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and list on the Victoria Falls Stock Exchange. The new wave has, however, become a cause of concern, with the market watchers questioning the future of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange as companies continue to delist without any new listings coming on board. Business that the future of the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange is bright, as there are companies which are looking to list on the bourse. Boni added that there were no laws that limited or governed the number of counters that could delist from the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange and expressed confidence that both bourses will start growing. And moving on to regional news. Sudan is in a political stalemate with a long-awaited transition to a civilian government yet to materialize and the country's military rulers refusing to relinquish power. Ongoing protests against military rule have been met with force, with more than 100 protesters killed. In Khartoum, Henry Wilkins meets the family of the protester killed in February. Please be aware this story contains graphic images that may find others disturbing.
Mazoub Ibrahim Alamin is the father of 14-year-old Ibrahim Mazoub Ibrahim, shot dead by a Sudanese policeman during pro-democracy protests on February 28th. A video purporting to show police shooting his teenage son went viral on social media in Sudan, sparking outrage against the security forces. Mazoub says a witness shared the video with him but asked to remain anonymous due to security concerns. Mazoub told VOA security forces had been following his son for weeks, as the teenager was the local organiser of protests that have occurred regularly in Khartoum since a military dictatorship took power in October 2021. Mazoub says Ibrahim may have been targeted.
This is a chance for public prosecutors to say to the world that they are fair and just. This is a full-fledged crime. A police officer running after a child and shooting him with a bullet that penetrated his chest and went through his back. A horrible scene. All the world saw it. I wish the government could make a move to stop these crimes.
Sudanese authorities say the policeman who shot Ibrahim has been arrested and will face justice. Many functions of the state are at a standstill as the government faces increasing pressure from protesters and some members of the international community, led by the United States, to return the country to civilian rule. But one member of the government doubts that will happen.
I don't know actually if the military is serious about giving up power. They are saying this, they are signing documents, but it's too good to be true.
Military rulers did not respond to requests for an interview. Analysts also say many obstacles must be overcome.
Not being able to agree on a process and a set of candidates. We're seeing a prolonged period of discussion within these workshops to resolve some of these nettlesome, outstanding issues like the role of the military going forward, justice and accountability for past crimes, the new constitution. So there are major issues.
For Nawal Al-Kir Othman, Ibrahim's mother, a break in the impasse will not bring back her son. She recalls how his teachers told her he was destined for great things.
He was dreaming of getting a full scholarship to travel to Turkey like his brother.
His father said Ibrahim decided to stay in Sudan and fight for democracy instead.
And now to the world of sports. Highlanders FC are ready for the 2023 Castle Lager Premier Soccer League season, with the coaching department happy with the squad they have assembled. Mwele Dube has more.
Highlanders announced their 2023 squad today, with new faces added to the team being Reward Musa, Marvelous Chikumira, Makinon Mushore, Chilien Nyati, Melikaya Ngube, Brighton Manire, Elsham Farasi, and Kelvin Chiconero. Second assistant coach Antonio Torres said they are happy with the squad, as they had indicated last year that they will not be making an overhaul, but they will be adding to fill in the gaps where they feel there is need.
If you talk with every coach in the world, they are not happy at all. Whereas Messi wants Ronaldo, whereas Ronaldo wants Messi, but under the circumstances that we have, we are happy. We are happy, and if you remember the last conference we had after we leave, we told you guys that we didn't want to make change. So we did some change. In our opinion, we didn't have too much players, but we are stronger than the last season, because sometimes it's not about heading, sometimes it's creating stability, it's creating dynamics. So we trust on the boys. They know that the words, they are good, but the actions of them in the field is what showed them really work, them really talent. So we expect a good beginning. Here are the captains, that they are the voice of the group, they are the voice of the squad. We trust too much on them. We think they will command the people well, so we believe we can do it well this season.
Defenders kick off their 2023 campaign with a tie against ZPC Karipa at Papaville Stadium on Sunday.
The Hockey Association of Zimbabwe has congratulated Zimbabwe's under-21 women's hockey team for qualifying for the Junior World Cup in Santiago, Chile. The tournament takes place on December 6 to 17, 2023. It will be the fourth time that the Zimbabwe appear at the Junior World Cup, having participated in 2005, 2016 and 2021. This year's qualification makes it 3 consecutive Junior World Cup appearances. The 2021 edition took place in April last year in South Africa. More in the following reports.
Yeah, the feeling is incredible. Like you said, it has been late nights, a lot of work by everyone. We've all sacrificed a lot. Took a lot of work to get here. By everyone involved, behind the scenes, everything, just raising money, everything like that, all the hard work from the ladies. And yeah, it feels great that we've finally done it, and yeah, qualified for another World Cup.
As you can see from the goals in the back there, you can see how exciting this is, even for the coaching staff as well. Lots of work has gone into preparing all this and making sure the girls have got to where they are today. So it's really, really good to see how far we've come and where we are right now. So we're really pleased, and yeah, we're looking forward to going to Chile. Here we go.
It feels amazing, actually. I think it's so nice to be here now after so many months of preparation and a lot of late nights and long weekends and early mornings, and yeah, lots of prepping. So it feels amazing. Yeah, I'm really, really proud to be part of it, but also really proud of the goals. So it feels good.
And moving on, Zimbabwe and Sri Lanka were on Thursday, March 16, suspended from voting during FIFA elections. This was as close to 2,000 delegates, including top football executives from World Football Governing Body FIFA, met in Kigali for the long-awaited 73rd FIFA Congress. The FIFA Congress, the supreme legislative body of FIFA, brings together top executives from FIFA, confederations, and representatives from 211 member associations and other football stakeholders. Of the 211 associations, 199 member associations voted in favor of a motion to suspend Zimbabwe, while 197 voted for the motion restricting Sri Lanka from voting during FIFA elections. In January, FIFA suspended the Football Federation of Sri Lanka over political interference after the federation's presidential elections fell short of Zurich's standards. According to reports, that was after the country's Ministry of Sports introduced a raft of regulations that reportedly compromised the autonomy of the independence of national sports bodies, including the FFSL. In 2022, FIFA suspended Zimbabwe's membership over government interference in the country's football associations. Zimbabwe's Football Association denied the allegations. At the time, reports indicate Zimbabwe authorities said that they were acting against corruption, incompetence, and sexual abuse. The FIFA Congress in Kigali was chaired by FIFA President Gianni Infantino. The host nation's President Paul Kagame attended. With this story, we have come to an end of today's lunchtime news bulletin on Kiona TV. I am Rashid Mhlanga. Thank you for watching. Good afternoon.